Alright, here in the top center, we've got Ceph from Team Penguin. Put his name forward to go up here against Dronehard, who is... He's a Masters. I don't know if he's the only Masters on Team Dronehard. Sorry, Team RTG. But he's still one of their top people from the looks of it, and putting him out first is a really interesting way of doing it. Sometimes you want to keep those people to the end to just make sure you're fine. Other times, putting them up first means you have an opportunity to take a couple of good wins and get your team really off on the right track. And we'll see what either the plans are for these guys. Whether somebody like Steph, who knew who he was playing here as a really top Zerg player, has a strategy in his mind. Whether he's comfortable with a macro game and try to play it into the mid game, or if he's going to be going for something a little bit more aggressive, maybe like a 12 pool, 11 gas, 12 pool, something like that that's going to give him that edge and maybe just take a quick win. Once again, this map, the rush distance, it's a long, narrow map, but because there's not a lot of stuff to dodge around, you can get Zerglings across the map pretty darn quick on this side. Still mirror builds, which is interesting because I think in my mind Dronehard should feel perfectly fine to play standard, but I'm looking at somebody like Ceph. If he goes, oh, he is going to go pool first. Alright, if he goes hatch first, that was going to be really ballsy in my mind. But we do see Dronehard looking very confident coming down here for his hatch first. I'm going to get comfortable. Sit back, relax, everybody. Get yourself a coffee. We have got a macro opening ZVZ. We're going to see the hatch and the pool go down for both these players as well. This is like the build order loss opening though, against like a 9 pool Baneling. This, except he was missing the gas. Like the extra delayed spawning pool after the hatch can be straight up mega death, like heavy metal rock band mega death, kind of mega death. But in this case, he should be just fine. And the interesting thing is, you can see where the Overlord is at this point. If you wanted to make a 9 pool or something like that, those lings would already be way across the map. Very interesting way of looking at it. We do have a gas down here just about to finish up for Dronehard. This map, you can't... like one creep tumor and you could wall off at the top of the ramp, I suppose, or, get something a little bit tighter to go for a more roach-focused opening. But I'd be very surprised to see a gasless play here out of Ceph in the early stages. It's just not that common. Yeah, there's his gas going down now. Because of these really, narrow, fast maps you can run across there with speedling, control the state of the game, deny the third base. And you should see the timing of this gas here. Make sure he doesn't lose that. Oh, it's over here, never mind. This thing, he didn't come in here and scout this gas, I'm pretty sure. No, he doesn't know anything for sure about his opponent. On this side, I don't think that Dronehard... Yeah, Dronehard hasn't seen a gas or anything yet either. A couple of lings are going to run in for a scout. Very smart. Could potentially block it, but it's not really worth it. Those lings are pretty fast. He's going to see that the speed is researching. And he's actually going to get both of these guys out of there just fine. Units-wise, couple of drones ahead here for Dronehard. We do have a spine crawler going down on this side. A little bit interesting for me. It can be a very useful thing here in the next little bit if he can get this done and he's got a couple of queens to block and then goes into a straight macro. I see this as somebody who wants to move into like a lair tech or a roach timing earlier on. I like that play. The difficulty with it is that you're going to find somebody that's really focused on being aggressive, can control the pace entirely, come out here, take a third base, maybe even a gold base, if you've got that earlier ling speed that can just crush. Baneling Nest is about to finish up. We'll see if this is defensive or not, but he's still mining gas. So I've got to assume he's got pressure in mind and he's going to go for something a little sinister here. We still see him droning up behind this. So all of that gas being mined for me is kind of strange. We do see the lair, really fast lair. Now there are still... Well, this Overlord's pretty beat up. So he could make a run for the main if he wants. I see this has got to be some sort of roach timing. If he's going to be going for maybe a +1 roach timing, it can be very devastating. Obviously, it's just like having +1 on your zealots, being able to two-shot lings. He is going to throw down that creep tumor at the front. Oh, he almost killed that Zergling. It'd been nice. Over here, we have a lair as well. A little bit behind, but not much. Couple of defensive banelings. Starting all the rest of his gases. I see this as going for a muta play. Whereas on this side, he's still just on the 2 gases. And there's the roach one. I'm surprised he didn't hide that. The only reason I'm bringing that up is this Overlord doesn't have to get far into the base to see this happening. +1 missile already on the way. He could hit an amazing timing against Dronehard. If Dronehard thinks he's got a free walk into a spire, if Ceph can get across the map with some speed roaches with +1, he can do a ton of damage. Likely the mutas are going to get out, but they won't be out in time to stop the attack. Nice wall off at the front. Denies the scout. Very close. I thought that Zergling was going to make it in. 6 roaches on the way. We do see the spire. We see more lings. I think he's worried of what's coming. Sees the spire. Such an important scout. He knows he's got a timing window right now. With speed, +1, and roaches being built. He started his spore a little soon, I think. That spire's a long ways off being done. I think if he actually didn't make this hydra den and didn't make the spores, and got out another 3 or 4 roaches, and went for a really big push, he'd probably be in a better spot. But it looks like he's going to use these roaches just to buy himself into a third base. That's cool, but you can see that the third base is already further ahead for his opponent. And Dronehard's up 10 workers right now. I do think that a really solid roach timing, and if he just went across the map, by now he'd be at the front door. He could have denied this third base. At least the speed could have got his units back home. Spore crawlers obviously kill face against any type of play from mutas, but this is still, there's a lot of spore crawlers that were drones. Hydraless range on the way. +1's about to finish up along with roach speed. That's 9, that's a lot of mutas. And the only reason I say it's a lot is because you can only get so much damage in. I mean, there's actually a good chunk of overlords on the map that he can pick off from Ceph. But once he gets in here, I mean, you like 3-shot mutas, and they're so expensive that I can't see him really wanting to sack them into spore crawlers. So sometimes you just get like 5 mutas, enough to kind of control the map, enough to stay out there, be aggressive. I like Ceph's position with his tech and his tech choices, but if we look at the economy, he's almost caught up again. He's just, if he can stabilize and take this into the later game, he's got better roach tech, he's got his hydras out, he's got better upgrades. We see the infestation pit, and we might see a really weird and unfortunate style of ZVZ where it's like a muta play transition into it's just swarm host. And I've seen people do this before. Even more mutas on the way now. The difficulty with going into swarm hosts after mutas is mutas are very, expensive on the gas. These hydras are going to have range and +1 and speed pretty soon here. He might be able to bounce between these bases and get some damage done. It's hard to say. You need like 20 mutas before you want to take on spore crawlers. It's just so ineffective. And we can see Ceph is starting to get out that great late game composition right now. The roach hydra. He needs a lot of hydras so he can take on the mutas when the time comes. Let's see if he wants to take on a spore. I'd be very surprised if he does. Good positioning here, actually, on that attack. He's going to try and get some damage in where he can. Ooh, almost got 1 muta, which would be nice. He's actually going to start another spore. That's the gaps you really want to close up against a muta-based players, so they can't bounce inside of your base, hit some overlords and things like that. Creep spread's really good. On this side, it's still just lings and muta. I think because he got that infestation pit, he was going to use that to be able to get into some form of, play with swarm hosts here. But with the hive, I'm trying to think what he wants to do. He's actually going to be going for straight up broodlords, which I actually think is really cool if he can get it out in time. He needs his hive to finish and his greater spire. Ceph has to realize that he's got to go for an attack soon, because if he doesn't have a spire out, I'm not going to say it's impossible. It is so difficult to take on broodlords with just hydralisks. It's very, very, very difficult. I wouldn't have minded seeing Dronehard out here with an overseer, just to pick off some of these creep tumors as well. Lots of lings on this other side here. Very worried about some sort of runaround attack. Actually loses himself a handful of mutas there for cheap. Not controlling his lings either. This is a big army, but the problem is those Zerglings can go and do so much damage with a run by. I'm actually very worried for Ceph about this. He can't base trade. Like, he doesn't have the mobility to base trade here. He's gonna lose a queen. The Zerglings are kind of just bouncing around. They're not getting the most damage in yet. Did we see the Greater Spire yet? He's upgrading his flyer attack instead of getting Greater Spire. He's actually got too many lings down here. He's gonna go and clean that up. How many mutas are left right now? Looks like he lost a bunch. He's only down to 8 mutas. Ceph is taking a huge supply lead right now. He's down a lot in workers. And I think this ling counter style could be really effective. Ceph is going to have to stay at home, I think, with a few roaches to block this ramp. Gets another muta. She doesn't want to lose these overlords for free. Oh well, he's got enough banked up here. Just fight! No! Go in for the fight! Don't go home. What are you going home for? These lings once again are going to get a ton of damage in. Like, there's no way around that. But he needs to go and attack stuff. Like, he can't wait any longer. Even if he has to base trade or something, he's got to get down here and get damage. If these broodlords get out, he's screwed. Like, there's no other way around that. Gold base is down in mining right now. He's splitting up his army. This is great. At home, hopefully he's rallying all of his units to the front. You got to rally to the ramp. He's going to base trade this guy. And it could... 10 broodlords. Oh my god. He doesn't recognize this either. The hive's going to go down. He's going to kill a ton of stuff. Back at home, he's lost one of his hatches. Broodlords are almost finished, and he's got to get out of here now, though. He's got to leave, and he's got to leave before these guys cut him off. It looks like he's just going to get out. Hopefully he recognizes these guys. Get out of there. Get out of there. He's going to fight it? He's going to try. He's gotten 2. I don't know. He's got to run. Like, you can't do it. Get the spire. Back at home, he's stabilized. He doesn't know about this base yet, though. Another spire is being built. He's got to realize his opponent's not being revealed, and he's got to go for that attack. Has he got his own spire started? You need the spire if you're going to be in Ceph's position. Save up the money, get a spire down, because it's the only way you're going to take on the broodlords. If he had out, 8 corruptors, he could just win the game. Some Zerglings are going to try to go out and be a little bit of a bugger. Oh, Ceph, watch what you're doing. Oh, don't sack your army. I think this is a mistake. I don't know what he's fighting for. Or what he's fighting at all here. Oh, he wrapped around with the other side. If he can get this hatch, he's actually going to be in a pretty good position. Can he kill all the buildings, though? He's losing a ton of his supply to do this. With all these drones left over, he can't win just to flat out kill every building. He's got to know that. This is really messy and weird. He doesn't know about this base once again, though. Maybe he'll see some of these transferring workers. He actually gets out of there with some of his army. Hooray for upgrades. Oh, no, you had it right. This one roach is going to split up and see that. There's still another hatch going down at both spots. There's so much money right now for Dronehard. I'm surprised he hasn't started his spire yet. I like getting the speed out. Because if he can just stay away from the broodlords, he might be able to win. He's splitting up his units, going all the corners. This is really close. I mean, Dronehard, I think, is going to lose this. I'm pretty sure he's going to lose it. He's got so many drones out right now. I'm very surprised that Ceph hasn't thrown down his own hidden base on like one of these spots. He might lose this hydra to all these drones. There's still so much money right now for Dronehard. I'm surprised he hasn't got down to Spire. Like, I'm not kidding. A couple of corruptors could change this game. Now there's so many drones out here, you can make a lot of extra buildings. He's got to keep his drones with his broodlords, surprisingly enough. Like, it's strange. There's the spire going down. Let's see if he can get out enough. He's got to start banking his gas to get out enough corruptors to fight this. Where's the last building? Oh, it's up here again. He doesn't have somebody at the top there to scout for this. He split up his broodlords, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's smart. I have not seen a game like this before. I mean, maybe that's just me. This is weird. Oh, he gets it.